we're only looking at one here, the tabs. But you can also view all the themes. I'm going to go into the gallery and show you all of the options you have. Now these are canned themes, just like Apex provides us in that environment. jQuery UI provides us the same kind of themes. So with this particular project, I have a blue theme in Apex, so I want to pick one of these blue ones. You can just click on them to view a preview of what the theme looks like. Here's what the tabs will appear like. I'll choose one of these blue ones. This looks better. It'll fit our theme better. So let's go with that. Notice the name here. It's Redmond. So I'll take that back to our application. Go to Edit the Page. And into the JavaScript. And back up to that very first line, the CSS we had included before. Again, this is where we were referring to the theme we're using in jQuery UI. This is one of those hosted files from Google, and simply by changing this word, applying the change, we have a new theme. This look and feel is obviously much better suited for our Apex template. So switching the themes is a very easy thing to do. The next question I often get is one about fixing the width. As you can see, it seems like the themes are taking up 100% of the page, and that's often not what people want. And it's not that the themes per se are doing this, it's simply that our template is forcing the themes to do that, and let's see why. I'm going to go into Firebug and drill down onto the top part of the tabs here. Now this should look familiar, this div right here. If you look at the bottom of the screen where I am, this is what we added to tell jQuery what to do with the tabs. So you can see how that works. Well, if I start to traverse up the tree from here, I'll run into this table data element with an ID of content body. I see that it has a width attribute. It's set to 100%. If I right-click that and delete it, I notice that the content above the tabs seem to collapse some. And that's part of what I wanted, but they didn't collapse all the way. So I'm going to continue traversing up until I get to this table element here. And I see that it also has a width element set to 100%. So I'll delete that attribute. And now I see my tabs collapsing the way I want them. In fact, if I look at the calendar, our buttons aren't over to the right anymore. And our charts are a bit smaller as well. So this is starting to look a bit better. It'll adjust itself for the content. But what I've just done is edited the HTML on the current page. What I need to do is tell jQuery to do this for me every single time this page is loaded. I'll do that by adding just one line of code. Let's go back into Edit the Page, and I'm going to turn off Firebug here. I'll go into Edit my JavaScript, and where we previously had just 3 lines of code, I'm going to add one more. So right before I show the tabs, I'm using another jQuery selector. And think of the where clause here. We're saying where the table with an ID of this and a table data element with an ID of this. These are what I'm selecting. And then I'm saying remove attribute. And the attribute I want to remove is width. I'll apply that change. Run the page. And it looks like we have the correct width. So now every time this page refreshes, we won't have to worry about that. Now that part of this implementation could vary depending on your Apex template. So you'll need to find which particular elements are setting the width to 100% in whichever template you're using in Apex. But it should be relatively easy to find with a tool like Firebug. The next question I get quite often is, how can I group multiple regions under a single tab? In this case, it might make more sense to have both chart regions under a single tab. So let's take a look at how we can achieve that. Again, I'll go to Edit the Page. And kind of like the way I had previously grouped these 4 regions in between a start and an end region, what I need to do is take these 2 regions now and group them together. I'll do it again using very basic HTML regions and with even less content than before. I want them, if you look at the sequence, right before this one, right after this one, so 35 and 55 would be appropriate. Again, these are just going to be basic HTML regions. Give them an appropriate name. Remove any template from them and put them in the appropriate spot. So the HTML I need is really simple. We're just going to wrap these regions in a basic div with an ID that I can key off of. Just need to add the end, again, here at 55. Okay. Now I've made the necessary changes to encapsulate the regions I'd like to display as one page. But I need to update that HTML, that list that jQuery is keying off of for the regions. Because remember, right now I have 4 list items. I want to take that down to 3. So I'm going to remove the last 2 and replace them with a single list item. And this keys off that new ID I added for the wrapper div. And we'll just call it charts. I'll apply the change and run the page. And here we have just 3 tabs with 2 charts grouped together under one. So it is possible to group multiple regions under a single tab just by encapsulating them and adjusting the HTML. Another question I get often is with regards to authorization. This application currently uses open door authentication. And if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see I'm logged in as the admin. The trick here is to know how to change the HTML. Right now, I've set it up to where this customer's region is only visible if I'm logged in as the admin. I've used an authorization scheme to do this. If you look at before jQuery tabs, I've done the same thing here. This particular region is locked down to an authorization scheme. So what I'll do, I'll log back into the app as another user. When I come in to the basic page, the before jQuery tabs page, I can see that that region's hidden, so I know that it's working. But when I go over to after jQuery tabs, we have a bit of a problem. The customer's region is in fact hidden. For some reason, I'm seeing the calendar here rather than what I wanted to. If I click on this tab, it works appropriately. That's where the calendar should be. And of course, the charts work fine. But when I go to customer, it's not working. This should not have been displayed at all, in fact. So the region, Apex hid the region appropriately, but if you remember that HTML that I added to tell jQuery how to build the tabs, well, that was a static HTML region. So of course, it still tells jQuery to put up a customers tab. What we need to do is adjust that region and make it more dynamic. So here we have the type of region. What I'll do is switch this to a PL/SQL anonymous block.